A song ready-made he composed it himself about maids, boys, a priest, and a wedding. A crowd you could scarce thrust your head in. A supper, good cheer, and a bedding that happened in Ballyporeen.
Hello. I have to say, from up here you're looking mighty well, I have to say. Bloody hell. There'll be some job picking out the best dress tonight. God bless him, whoever's doing it. Anyway. This is the farm. No, I'm afraid not. Welcome to Griffin's Inn. It's great to see such a full house. But first we'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So as you can see, we have a full house tonight. So the emergency exits are here to the left, the main double door here to the right, and the rear door. And if you're in the kitchen, there's a separate exit there as well. The toilets are in here to the left. Again, the arrangement is probably different what you normally see in the hall here, and it's to accommodate the serving. So Richard Meany, as we'll call him for the night in character, you can see him down there at the bottom. He'll be starting the tables, I think, down number 2 here first, and they're opposites. So to avoid, he has a formula to go in the door here on the right, where the clock is. Oh, sorry, further up on the left, apologies, and come out to one of the clock, and just follow around. So Richard will guide you in along anyway as we take the tables. But the first top table will be introduced first. Okay, so I'm just going to call up the characters. So first up is mother of the bride, Mary McGrath. Next up is Mary's daughter and Una's sister of the bridesmaid, Hannah McGrath. Followed by Mary's daughter, the bride, Una McGrath. The next one up is familiar to you all, the parish priest of Templetinny, Father Robert Murphy. He's a bit stern looking, but don't worry, he'll be fine. And finally, for this part, give a warm Ballyporeen welcome to the man that's paying for all this evening, accompanied by his glamorous wife all the way from Newmarket in County Cork. I give you the Right Honourable Gentleman, Mr. John Philpott Kern, and his wife, Sarah Philpott Kern. As normally, it's the bride that keeps the invited guests waiting. But on this occasion, it appears to be the groom and the best man. Where the hell are they? The Spalpeens.
Darling, my true love, I came a swooping like a dove.
Sit down, you Richard. Sit down.
At last, welcome the groom, Patrick O'Brien, and his best man, Cornelius Farrell. So, cast your minds back 230 years ago to 1790. in Griffin's Inn, Ballyporeen. Earlier today, Patrick and Una had got married up in Carrickville. It'll be another 30 years before the church up here is built, in the Church of the Assumption. Both of them work here in Griffin's. Pat being a waiter and Una a waitress. The wedding reception would have been a family affair, quite a small affair for the time. But a generosity, the Griffiths said they could use the inn here. However, unbeknownst to themselves, the Philpott Kearns have come in a stagecoach from Cork, heading to Cork from Dublin. And that was the norm at the time. Next door was an inn where the horses stayed for the night in the coach, and they stayed overnight. So they came into Griffin's, and they see the wedding going on, a small wedding. And very quickly, Mr. Philpott Kearns said, he threw out his arms, tell everyone in the village to come into the wedding. So this is, through his generosity. And so everyone from the street and all the surrounds came in and were quickly gathered. So the wedding was organised quite quickly, and that's the kind of team we want, I suppose, tonight, that it is, and again, you've dressed up accordingly, happy, brilliant. But it was done quite quickly, and that's what we've gone for. Just a quick word. John Philpott Kearn, he's a renowned barrister, having trained at Trinity College Dublin. You'd know it from the look of him. Believe it or not, this fellow went to Trinity College Dublin. And even better, he went on to London to the King's Inn, the highest established. At the moment, he's practicing all around Munster and generally in Dublin as well. No doubt he's had a few cases in Clonmel and Clogheen. And who knows, he may be familiar with a few of you here in the audience. We'll see after. So that'll be it from me for the moment. I'll interject throughout the night to give you the historical context of the night. What these will give you, you'll see yourselves. Over to the host for this evening, and as I'll say it again, the man that's kindly paying for all this, and by the night's end, he will have wrote the song, The Wedding of Ballyporeen. I give you the Honourable Gentleman, John Philpott Kearn.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be amongst you, the good people of Ballyporeen and Tilpiltinny. My name is John Philpott Kearn. I'm only a visitor to this area because I work on the judicial system in south of Ireland, in your beautiful country. I have representation in the Clogheen courts. Some of you are very familiar to me. Evening, Morgan. So I jotted a few notes down of our bride and groom today. I've only met them just quite recently. So we have Una and Patrick, a wonderful couple. My introductions were, like I said, only briefly. Una McGrath comes from a family of 12 in the townland of Skihina. Una has worked here at Griffin's Inn for the last 4 years as a waitress, where she met the handsome Mr. Patrick O'Brien from Dimacunna. Stand up there, Patrick, and we'll get in. Come out a bit further and we'll get a real good look at you. Now, what's this show? No? See what the dear sisters, the Cleary sisters, have missed above there for the last 20 years? You're right under your nose and you missed it.
What a cake!
Una has worked, for the last one. He comes from a farming background of 8 and has worked here for the last 2 years as a waiter. So he's quite a very eligible bachelor. The other top table I'll introduce as the night goes on. So if you have a good night, and the invited guests are all up here in the front, the lesser, as you move through the hall, you'll find that, look, this is what it is. So I'd like to ask Father Murphy, who looks like he could be a bishop, Father Murphy, to say grace.
Thank you to the Honourable Gentleman, Member of Parliament for Cork, John Philpott Curran. If I'm not mistaken, John, over here, will you please? If I'm not mistaken, like myself, John, in his early life, had a religious vocation, be it a Protestant one. But be assured, John, if you wish, I will hear your confession this evening whenever you see fit. And what a tale that would be. Right, to the task at hand. Let us all be upstanding for grace.
Hey, Joe, if I'm getting married, you're getting up.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. May this food restore our strength. May this drink restore our spirits. Give a new vision to dry spirits, new warmth to cold hearts. And may, once we're refreshed, may we give praise to you who gives us all. Amen.
Amen.
Speaking of confessions, we don't want to hear any of loose morals or loose carry-on throughout the village for the rest of the night. So we don't want poor old Father Murphy having to listen to your carry-on tomorrow's confessions. We don't want to burden him with your tales of misdemeanors. Good evening, Mag Donoghue.
So, let the evening commence with service for the top table. And if there's anything left over, we'll work our way down the hall there.
Bring it on. Oh my God, it would be brilliant. Lord.
Right. I see Mr. Philpott Curran has made his way down to the bottom of the hall here, on the right. So, you can see all the tables are named, and these names are from the song itself, The Wedding of Ballyporeen. So, Mr. Philpott Curran, I see you're at the Tough Cutters. Who's down there?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Fucking I'd hate if you didn't hear me. I'm not quite sure of your traditions in this quaint little village, but you have tough cutters. A fine profession, there's no doubt. And I can see it lasting for a long, long, long time.
What lemon rain comes in.
But not a man in sight. These guys, they're either up in the file darring, still cutting turf, or they're wrecked. But there isn't a long back in any of these women that could cut turf, I can tell you. Not quite sure about that now. But as we move to the most important people in the night, I'd like to call on Patrick to say a few words. The groom himself,
Can't
Mr.
you let me eat
Patrick
my
O'Brien.
dinner? I'm trying to eat my dinner. No. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pisspot Current. Philpott Current. As you can see, and everybody in this knows that I'm a man of little or no means. It means the world to me that my one and only love, Una, has got the wedding day she deserves.
Mr. O'Brien, nobody can hear you down here on the bottom. Can we get a microphone for Mr. O'Brien?
How do you work it?
Take it up in your hand.
Take it up in my hand. They didn't have these in 1790. Thank you very much, Mr. Piss Pot Current. As you can see, piss pot to me. Everybody in here knows that a man of little or no means, and that my only love has gotten the wedding day she deserves. I'd like to thank my best man, Cornelius Farrell from Cool Rule, and I'd like to say he's done everything to make the day go flawlessly, if you believe that. And that and he looks well when dressed up. But I have to remind him only yesterday that the wedding day was today, and his attire is exactly the same as yesterday, the day before that, and I could go on and on and on. I don't think he ever changes. I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Meany, who is busy down there on the floor covering my waiting job for the most 6 weeks. Huh? Yeah, someone has to do it in the most satisfactory way.
I heard his lordship is giving you a sponsorship.
He is, of course. He is, of course.
Taking you to Wales for a few days.
Well, much closer than the Wales. Much closer than Wales.
Bangor for a week.
You say no more. To the mother of the bride, Mrs. McGrath, thank you for the dowry of 3 pounds and 2 sows, which is all going well, will number at least 20 in 2 weeks. What joy they will bring to myself and Una. And finally, to my beloved wife, Una, I can't wait for tonight. Sorry. I can't wait for this day to happen. Thank you very much, everybody.
Please go on and have to listen to the doors banging and closing all night in the switch rooms. Just stay in the one room.
You'll hear them.
She said to me, oh, men say that you were going down the stairs.
Mr. Philpott,
Sister, no,
I see you've moved again. Can you hear me? Mr. Philpott, I see you've moved again. You're at the table with the peddlers and the tailors. I believe in 1873 there was 7 tailors in the village. And no doubt Hennessy's, I've no doubt. Who have you at that table down there, Mr. Philpott, Corn?
We have a bunch of peddlers, like the label says, peddlers and tailors. It's a mix that the Hennessy's, they're a tradition of fine tailors. I don't know why you're not sitting with them. You're sitting with the blacksmiths. I don't know how you did. Did you get kicked out of the tailor for some fraternity? And I must say that the tailors are fine, better cut of men than the tough cutters. The tough cutters are very cutters. Yeah. I'm not quite sure about the peddlers because I'm actually quite afraid of the peddlers because they're a mean-looking bunch. I'm very familiar with a few of them. I have seen them pass through the courts on many a time. They're a beady bunch of yeah. So I'll pass by the peddlers of the very, very cautiously. So as we break for tradition, we'd like to ask the bride to say a few words. Una, would you like to say a few words?
I will.
Know that the ladies of this era don't speak very much, which is not a bad thing now, I must add.
Well, I'd like to break that, Mr. Philpott. Well, first, I want to thank my wonderful mother for rearing 14 of us in a 2-room mud cabin. And for today, I would especially like to thank you, Mother, for the 3 pounds and the 2 pigs. We'll pay you back someday.
Yeah, right.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Thankfully, my sister Hannah has been everything to me that Cornelius hasn't been to Pat. Where is he?
He's gone again.
He's gone again. She made this beautiful dress. I'll just do it to her.
That's mine.
Thank you, Hannah. With a little guidance from Miss Cray, who I do hope is down there somewhere. Finally, thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Philpott Kern. I'm close to being speechless for your generosity for me and Patrick today. My family, friends, and guests here in front of us. Mind you, I know that everyone who frequents this pub, and I don't recognize a few of you out there, but Mr. Philpott Kern is paying, so you're all very welcome today. Thank you.
Can I say a few words, Miss McGrath? Oh, or Mrs. O'Brien.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind.
Absolutely, my lady.
I would like to add my congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien. It's great to see a couple so young and so in love. It truly is a great day for you. And I would like to express my thanks to my husband for his generosity, of which I've no doubt you'll all agree is above and beyond the expected. But I do have a little bone to pick with my husband, my gentleman husband, of whom I've borne 9 kids. Healthy children, actually. Darling, where was this generosity on our wedding day? Is he out there? Is he lost? Can we find my husband?
All I can say, my dear lady, is expectations. I remember it well. You had great expectations. I could see it in your eyes. But over the years, I saw it dwindle. I saw it quench. Good evening, Deborah.
Dear, you're not answering my question.
So taken, I think we should move on from this, and we'll discuss it on the stagecoach back home. So I'd like to ask the mother of the bride. No, I don't. Mr. Neil is speaking in here.
I'll just come in there, Mr. Philpott Kern. Just a bit of historical fact there. Yes, indeed, Sarah Cray was also from Newmarket, and indeed did marry her cousin John in 1774. Yes, indeed, you heard correct. They were cousins. As Sarah said, they had 9 children. Their youngest daughter being Sarah Kern, being the most prominent.
Thank you, sister.
And despite her father's protestations, she was engaged to Robert Emmet in 1803, hence the same year he was hanged, but her father disapproved. And now I'll hand you back to Mr. Philpott Kern to respond to his wife's query. And if I be so brazen to add, Mr. Kern, I'd be careful in my response.
The sooner they build a faster road back to Cork, the better. So I would like to call on the mother of the bride to say a few words.
Relax, Mum, relax. There beside you, Mum.
I was thinking, when I said write my darling letters.
Oh, Mother of God, I wasn't expecting that I'd have to say a few words. As you all know, I'm a very shy, retiring widow woman. But sure, I'll have a go at it. My oldest daughter, Una, I'll be sad to see her go. But on the other hand, I'm delighted that she's settling down with Patrick O'Brien, a fine young man. And this is reflected in the £3 dowry that I had given. Not to mention the 2 expectant sows. Patrick, Una wasn't the easiest to rear. Mother! She's very independent-minded and generally wants and gets her own way.
Best of luck.
If the road gets rocky, don't be coming to me. She's yours now. However, if the 2 sows are too much trouble, I'll surely take them back. Now, I'd like to thank Father Murphy for the quick wedding mass of a working day. Sure, aren't we blessed to have him? That's it now. Enjoy the festivities, and you can thank Mr. and Mrs. Philpott Kern for the likes of this extravaganza. Extravaganza is the only word to describe this.
Oh, Mother. We wouldn't be here today without them. Oh, never mind, Dora.
Now, I'd like to call on the best man for a few words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Philpott Curran. I was just wondering, how did you get to have 2 names? Wasn't one ever good enough for you? We don't have any of that whole carry on around here, like. No, mind you, I'm just thinking there now, we have the Moon Fitzgeralds above at the finger post, don't we? And I see the big fella around him. Look, anywhere there's free food and liquor, he'll be there. I see him lurking around, all right. Anyway, back to the task at hand and Patrick O'Brien. I've known him for 20 odd years and I thought he'd never get married. And married before me even.
I'm younger.
But who would have thought it? And I've been one of the finest catches in the parish of Templetenny. Una McGrath, do you not think so? Oh, sorry. It's your lovely sister Hannah I meant to ask. Well, Hannah? Isn't Una looking beautiful tonight? Nearly as good as her sister. I'd like everyone to join me in a toast to Una, Hannah, Mrs. McGrath, Mrs. Philpott Kern, aren't they only looking mighty? I'd like to wish Patrick and Una all the best in their married life together. Hopefully you'll have loads of children to look after you in later life. Hopefully the sows will have loads of bonhams. And also, Mrs. McGrath, I was just wondering, if Hannah was to get married, how many sows would be coming with her? So surely be 5 or 6, would it?
Depends on the suitor. Depends on who the suitor is.
Well, right, I'll take that as a 6, so. I better wrap it up and look, thanks to Patrick for asking me to be the best man, and in truth, he's right. I did nothing. But sure, didn't we get here on time, on the old bikes, and good luck now, and everyone enjoy their night.
I do know, I'm very familiar with his work now, this Mr. Fitzgerald you speak of. He's a man of, he's a pillar of society, a most honourable of men. Sorry, Mr. Farrell, I have represented your brother I did, as you said, I went and met him as he sits in a jail in Clonmel, and I put it to him that you were offering that to revoke his sentence of hard labour in the new world of New Zealand and Tasmania to possibly give you a hand on your farm. He was at first quite shocked, but he sails on Thursday. He thought, fuck it, I'm out. I'd like to call on, because she was mentioned by the best man who has desires on her, I would think, I'd like to call on the bridesmaid to say a few words.
Well, I don't have much to say apart from wishing Una and Patrick a long, happy and healthy life together.
Thank you.
Which I hope they will achieve in these very difficult times we're living in. But Mr. Philpott, Right Honourable Philpott Kern, can I ask you if you were one of the prosecutors in the case of Father Sheehy, our former parish priest?
Oh no.
I'd like to disassociate myself from that at the moment until I myself have a lawyer.
So you weren't? That's why I'm asking you as a lawyer. So you weren't involved in the trial at all, were you? Were you one of the Right Honourables who was involved in the prosecution of Father Sheehy? Parish priest who baptized most of the people here tonight.
I am a man that would I would encourage the ladies of this century to speak up.
I will remind you
There's
of what
a
happened.
reason why you don't have a vote. Connor, if...
I will remind you what happened. Our parish priest was executed. He was hung, drawn and quartered for a crime that never happened. You are familiar with the crime, with the case, Mr. Philpott Kern?
I wasn't there at the time now.
That answers my question.
Mr. Philpott, do you want to take a break?
Women should have great crack.
Right. We'll just go back to, I think Mr. Philpott Kern has recovered. And we'll just go back to one last table. The Threshers, or the Trashers, I should say, and the Sailors. A fine bunch they are. So, Mr. Philpott, you're recovered, yes?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Donovan. In fairness, I'm not quite sure what kind of a time machine you have. You just produce a load of black and white photographs and stuff that comes from, I don't know where you find it, but in fairness, yeah. The Sailors, now I'm not very familiar with your little village, but I find it quite, between lady tough cutters and rowdy lady tough cutters, man. And we have Threshers and Sailors. Sailors? Who? No, Nailers.
Mr. Philpott, sorry, it's Nailers.
See? Sailors. I knew that we're, what are we, 80 miles from the beach and we've sailors? We've nailers. I'm not quite sure what a nailer is, but we have them.
There was 3 nailers in Ballyporeen.
There was what?
3 nailers. It's a craft. In 1873, there was nearly 100 tradespeople living in Ballyporeen. 3 of them were nailers. They made nails. You'll see it up here on the slides after. But
and that's them?
That's, yeah, you can see them, sure. Look, you'd know by looking at them, sure.
The sailors are a better convincing bunch than the nailers. The Threshers were a bunch of people that would travel and fodder the corn and they'd be there when they'd be called upon to finish the threshing of Eamon Donovan, seriously? He'd be on about 3 weeks afterwards. The threshing machine is broke down. I'll be up on Tuesday. Thursday, the rain is coming. No threshing machine broke. The part is in the post.
Actually, I think he has one for sale, Eugene, or Mr. Philpott, sorry.
Yeah, I think I actually bought that.
Very good. Thanks, Mr. Philpott. So I'll just give you a small bit of context to the night. Just a few other things about Mr. Philpott Kern. He actually was involved in 5 duels back in the 1700s. Again, with the pistols face off. We were going to do a reenactment here because we thought the Yank would be here, but look, we'll pass up on that. But he survived 5 of them. And when I was actually looking up this thing in 1777, the rules actually were made inside in Clonmel, believe it or not, for duels. And they became the 25 rules across all of America for pistol dueling. But it was confined to the upper class.
I participated in 6 of those duels, survived every one of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
And he's reliably told me if anyone wants to try it out, you can go down the lot after. Make it 7 out of 7.
People think because I have such a big head, I'd be an easy target, but...
Actually, can I say a few words now?
Absolutely.
Am I in the mic?
Yeah.
My darling husband,
It's been a long night.
you still haven't told me why we didn't have this so generous wedding on my wedding day.
Like to go back to what
Did you come to the conclusion?
I'd like to go back to what I said earlier on.
Oh no, dear, I'm not taking that right now.
No,
darling. No, you said it. You said it again. You know me. I want it now. Right now. I need to know why we didn't have all that money that time. And you are an MP and a lawyer. So, come on, give me it right now. You're not getting out of this so lightly.
Believe it or not, they had IT problems back 230 years ago. I think his mic has failed.
You're not getting out of this. Answer me. Right here, right now. He's gone.
He's gone. I think
Yeah.
he's gone to
Yeah,
the
he's
outhouse, I
gone.
think.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Philpott Kern and Sarah. So the song itself, it was composed about 230 years ago in Ballyporeen, in the exactly in this context, I suppose. A night very much like we had tonight, strangely enough, which is great. The song then became quite actually famous throughout. It was sheet music that time. It became quite famous throughout the world. 126 years ago, up in the convent here, they were raising money for the church, and that's the first time we in a grand bazaar. And the Mercy Sisters had a stall there, and very similar to our table tonight, actually, tastefully decorated with a profusion of flowers, bunting, and evergreens. And in this very hall, in 1941, 82 years ago, the Ballyporeen Dramatic Society held very similar reenactment as well. And in the newspaper, the locals sang song at the end, and it was James Fitzgibbon and T. Williams, Linnacunna, and Pat Russell and William O'Brien, Ballyporeen. So some things never change. 82 years later. Except Pat sings every day. That's the I think I'd like to cause Rose Cleary out there, if she's in there, for the best dressed.
The sisters.
Is she here? I have the winners here eagerly waiting, but Rose is going to give out the vouchers there. Mr. Philpott Corners, he's recovered, he's gone together, I believe.
He came out of hiding.
Is she there?
So So do we call him Father Murphy to say grace?
Absolutely.
But before, I must say that we've had waiting staff going around there, and I'm not sure what script they saw, but they come from the 1840s. Eileen, would you like to just... This is another part of the cruise here as well. Eileen is part of the... She's not just here just to look pretty, she also does a job, and she's the only one of us that actually had a job. And like I said, I'm not sure what script you saw, or you were reading, but... So I'd like to call in Father Murphy, and like I said, I am of the court case on Friday. So we'll see you on Friday, Father.
Is this on? Yeah. Before I say grace, I would like to say what a wonderful evening we've had tonight. And I hope when you continue your festivities in Nelly's, the Doulas and O'Casey's, that there will be no stories coming back to me tomorrow morning. I also hope that you show the same enthusiasm tomorrow at 11 o'clock Mass. There will be confessions after Mass. Cornelius, I hope you'll be first in the queue. And now for grace. Let's all be upstanding, please.
Joe.
Up.
Tell Joe, get up.
Get up, Joe.
She can't, no.
Lord God, Heavenly Father, bless us and these gifts while we have received through those bounty to Christ our Lord. Amen.
Right, my darling. It's time to let's head. I've got the honeymoon all sorted. We can stay at my uncle's up in Ballyporeen, or we could go to the nice quiet place up on Church Street for a few days. We're off now. It's great to be 22. Bye-bye.
Right, so the night has only begun for them. So over here, Rose Cleary has the two vouchers. Right, so the best dressed. So Rose has the two vouchers there, and we'll go with the best dressed male first. I don't think this family was around 230 years ago around here, but anyway, Michael Geary. You have to walk up to the prize. You have to walk up and just do your stuff. He actually looks like the priest, actually, to be honest. And the best female, Susan Willems. So again, no, Susan, get up you go. Right. That's more or less it, but I'll start with, I think you're all fed, are you? You're all happy? I just need to round up one or two more here. The bride and groom should come around now in a second. Back again.
I'd say they're otherwise...
Otherwise engaged. I'll just put them in 2 seconds.
So that's what you look like as a nailer. He doesn't look like a sailor, but he's stupid.
You make nails, Rocky.
Richard Meany, would you like to come on the stage there? And Eileen McGrath, wherever she is, Eileen King. So I'd like to welcome back the bride and groom. It's just Eileen. Right, I'd like to call, as we have more or less all the players on the stage, I'd like to thank them for their wonderful reenactment of the wedding of Ballyporeen. So, Eileen's business now. So as I call you out, I'd like you to stand up and take the applause one by one. Mary McGrath. Mary K. O'Gorman. Una McGrath. Audrey O'Grady. Hannah McGrath. Hannah Sheehy. Father Robert Murphy. John Geary. Patrick O'Brien. Pat Russell. Cornelius Farrell. Conor Farrell. Richard Meany. Richard Meany. Eileen McGrath. Eileen King. And finally the last two, Sarah Curran Cray, Eleanor Geary. And again, the man that's paid for all this with his kind generosity, John Philpott Curran, Master Eugene Fitzgerald. And I have to say, it's been brilliant. That's all I can say. I think it's reflected by yourselves as well. Oh, I wouldn't quite cut the cake yet. We'll leave. I think it's, you can look at the cake, but I wouldn't cut it.
I'm not going to cut it.
And actually, just as a reference there, I know it's Valentine's week, I think, isn't it, if I remember rightly? See the very bit on top? The very, very top. Richard Mee has kept that for how many years now? That Richard has kept that all for this occasion. For how many years ago that is. So there's romance. It's not dead at all. That's utter lies. I think Betty kept it, to be honest. Secondly, the evening has been organised by the Ballyporeen Clogheen Burncourt Heritage Group. All the members you've met this evening at the door selling tickets, props, serving, organising, etc. I'll mention them in no particular order, although I will start with Rose Cleary. This evening was Rose's idea. She was the one that brains behind all this. Betty Mee, Breda Nolan, Hilary Cray, Eleanor Sweeney, myself, Neil Donovan, and the honourable mention to Richard Mee. Eleanor was the one that recruited all these, and she asked me to mention Eleanor there. She's just come out there now. She's asked me to mention she's going setting up an agency for acting and actresses, so anyone aspiring, contact her thereafter. She said she'd kill me if I didn't mention that. David and Kathleen Fitzgerald are probably still beavering away inside there. What a job. I mean, they got the record. We were struggling to keep up here on the stage, I'll be honest. And the food from what I heard has been brilliant. And the desserts. Well done. Anne Casey for making the cake. She had about 2.5 weeks to make it. But Eleanor only told her last night. So, so it was made in a few hours, thanks Anne for the short notice. Seamus Innesy for the sound recording on the night. You see he's kept busy. But that's actually gel in his hair, that's not sweat by the way, that's gel. But and he's recorded this, we'll edit it and put it up on Facebook in a couple of weeks. But again, having Seamus here as always makes it so easy. As you come in tonight, you heard the recording of the song. And you'll see it probably come up here now in a second as well. And we have to thank Con and Aileen Leddy for the recording. And that was John Joe Sweeney singing the rendition of Wedding of Ballyporeen. And he did that in 1995. And inside in Brian O'Reilly's studio, and Shane's going to run there for a second as well.
'Twas a fine summer's morning, about 12 in the day, and the birds gan to sing and the asses to bray. When Patrick the bridegroom and Una the bride, in their best bibs and tuckets, set out side by side. Oh, the piper played first in the rare, sirs. The maids blushed, the bridesmen did swear, sirs. Oh, Lord, how the spalpeens did stare, sirs, at the wedding in Ballyporeen. They were soon tucked together and home to return, to make merry the day at the sign of the churn. They sat down together, a frolicsome through. Oh, the banks of old Shannon ne'er saw such a group. There were turf cutters, thrashers and tailors, harpers and pipers and nailers, peddlers and smugglers and sailors, assembled in Ballyporeen. There was Brian McCormick and Shaughnessy's bat, Terence O'Driscoll and Platterface Pat. There was Nora McCormick and Brian O'Ling and the fat red-haired cook that lives down at the inn. There was Seamus and Harry the Jiggers, Pat's uncle and old Darby Dennis, Black Teddy and Crooked McGuinness, assembled in Ballyporeen. Now they sat down to meet. Father Murphy said grace, smoking hot were the dishes and eager each face. The knives and forks rattled, spoons and platters did play, and they elbowed and jostled and walloped away. Rums, chimes and fat sirloin did groan, sirs. Whole mountains of beef were cut down, sirs. They demolished all to the bare bones, sirs, at the wedding in Ballyporeen. There was bacon and greens, but the turkey was spoiled. Potatoes dressed both ways, both roasted and boiled. Hog's pudding, red herring, and the priest got a snipe, called cannon pies, dumpling, cod, cowheel and tripe. Oh, they ate till they could eat no more, sirs. Then the whiskey came pouring, galore, sirs. Oh, Terry McMahon did roar, sirs, and he bothered all Ballyporeen. Now the whiskey went round and the songs of the roar. Tim sung Paddy Kelly and Nell sung Molly Stole, till the motion was made that their songs they'd forsake, and each lad take his sweetheart or trotters to shake. Then pipers and couples fell dancing, bare feet and flat brogues all a-prancing. Such piping, such figuring and dancing was ne'er seen in Ballyporeen.
Remarkably, you've seen the song on the table there. There's 10 verses, not the easiest to sing, and John Joe did it in one take in 1995 in Siding for My. Sorry? That's you there, yeah. Believe it or not, that's Mr. Philip Corn over there. Remarkable semblance. Bear the grey speckles of hair. The costumes, some of the actors' owns, and some of the committee members. But Hilary Craig deserves special mention, as she's primarily responsible for doing all the altering, the details and all that, and she did a mighty job in the last couple of weeks. The raffle prizes, again, this is all local businesses primarily, and some donations, and again, I suppose we're very appreciative of them, and I suppose the whole idea is to please support them. Again, Fitzgerald's Butchers, the Market Stone Clogheen, Ballyporeen Community Council, Billy Hale Importer, Eamon Donovan Garage, Pat Russell's Shop, Caroline Broadhurst, Tom and Eleanor Sweeney, Mary Carey O'Brien the Post Office, Breda Nonan and Ann Casey of Casey's Pub. And again, primarily all local businesses, and very much appreciate that. Ballyporeen Community Council for use of the hall, and again, as you can see, unreal facility. I'd like to thank the judge for the best dressed. Obviously, this person is going to remain nameless for obvious reasons, only 1 or 2 know. But again, well done. The props, again, as you see around the hall, from Pat Russell, some of the members own, but Pat Russell's shop, and Billy Hale as well, quite a lot of them around the front here, and we were beaving away yesterday. And Billy has reliably informed they're all for sale Monday morning above in the shop, and more. That's only a small variety, really, isn't it?
But not mine.
Not Pat's. Sorry, you can't. Pat can't. No, Pat's not for sale. Pat's sold. He's done. But again, these are all these signs. They're all about Billy's, and again, we were so lucky to have it so local and appreciative. The ticket sales: Pat Russell, Mary Carey, the post office, and Maureen Creed. It was possibly the easiest job ever, as they were sold the morning they went on release.
Never saw him.
And and again, special mention to Betty Me for coordinating that, because it's been a tough job right up to 10 minutes before it started. The hall set up, again, similar people: Richard Me, Pat Russell, Billy Hale, and Paul Noonan. And I see John Ahern here from Davin. Again, someone we probably always fail to mention Davin and the local newspapers. But again, they've been giving us great publicity down the years and continue to do so. So thanks, John, on behalf of here. Only 2 more left, you'll be glad to know. Basically, we'd like to thank yourselves, everyone here tonight, for supporting this event. These events happen because of you, and it's fairly simple. No support, no event. There's been a buzz around the village for the last week or two, and again, that's reflected what I'm seeing out here. In the effort you've made for the dressing up. And again, so well done to all of you. And finally, the Ballyporeen Clogheen Burncourt Heritage Group. In the last year, we've had a photo exhibit, which people are still talking about. The Churches of the Deesha Tour. And another great night in the hall like this. But there's more, and obviously there's an appetite for these events, really, as we can see. Heritage is many things: stories, places, objects, songs, music, events, photographs, buildings, and most of all, people. And I suppose that's, in putting this together tonight, unearthing the recording of John Joe Sweeney singing, that's what it's all about. If we get, there's more of that out there, and it's great to record that and locate it. All the items in the list I've mentioned above are there, stored away in someone's memory, probably your own even. And we want to gather these for the next generations, these kind of stories and events. And who knows, maybe we'll have another night in the hall like this and another one of these events. So we'll be in contact, and we'd love no members to send. So simply contact any of the current members that you see floating around here again, and I'll call out their names, are worth calling out twice. Rose Cleary, Betty Me, Breeda Nolan, Hilary Cray, Eleanor Sweetie, and myself, Neil Donovan. Thanks very much, and safe home.
And hello.
Stand up and take a bow. I think they deserve a bow, I think. Oh, look, upstanding, the crew.
Hello.
Upstanding.
Hello.
Pat. Take a bow.
Hello.
Take a bow. That's it. Well done. Thank you very much, everyone.
One more thank you to Neil.
Now the whiskey went round and the songs of the roar. Tim sung Paddy Kelly and Nell sung Molly a Stole. Till the motion was made that their songs they'd forsake, and each lad take his sweetheart or trotters to shake. Then pipers and couples fell dancing, bare feet and flat brogues all a-prancing. Such piping, such figuring and dancing was ne'er seen in Ballyporeen. Now the bridegroom sat down for to make an oration, and he charmed all their souls with his kind moderation. They were welcome, he said, and he swore and he cursed. They might eat till they swell, they might drink till they burst. And the first christening I'll have, if I'll thrive, sirs, I hope you all here will arrive, sirs. You'll be welcome all, dead and alive, sirs, to the christening in Ballyporeen. Then the bride, she got up for to make a low bow. She twittered and felt, oh, she couldn't tell how. She blushed and she stammered a few words she let fall, for she whispered so low that she bothered them all. Her mother cried, what? Are you dead, child? For shame would you hold up your head, child? Though I'm 60, I wish I were wed, child. How I rattle all Ballyporeen. Now to Patrick, the bridegroom, and Una, the bride, let the harp of old Ireland be sounded with pride. And to all the brave guests, young or old, grey or green, drunk or sober, that jigged it in Ballyporeen. For when Cupid shall lend you his weary to trip o'er the conjugal ferry, I hope that you'll be as merry as we were in Ballyporeen.